Hello everybody, so today we're going to talk about English vowels. So before getting started, here are the educators and mentors. So let's get started. Here is the vowel diagram. As you can see here, as you can see on the right, horizontal lines represent the shape of our jaw, which can be open in an open mid position, close mid position, or close, as you can see in the picture. The vertical lines represent the position of our tongue, which can be in the front of your mouth, in the center, or in the back. So it would help a lot to look at this picture. Intelligibility, vowel length. It means making a distinction between short and long vowels. Many languages, except English, do not have this feature. Vowel quality. It means using a vowel from your own native language instead of an English vowel. Even there are some dialects of English that don't have some standard vowels of English. So if you're using other vowels and maybe the vowels from your own native language, and if you're applying those vowels to English, it's most likely not going to cause a lot of problem. At least it's going to be intelligible. Of course, there are some situations you might run into, some situations where you know the person or the listener can't understand you, but it's very minimal. So in general, we can choose not to use the vowels of standard English and instead use those of our native language. If we accept not to sound like a native, it doesn't really affect the intelligibility much when speaking, like I said, but I would rather have like a standard accent. So vowel length. So this is a comment that I left in the site. There was an exercise, and this is the comment that I made about the exercise. So let's read it out loud. I believe if we are having a hard time differentiating between words because of vowel length, we can just guess the words depending on the context. That's what I did in the exercise. But there are some situations where language becomes insufficient. In the exercise, there were some similar sounding words, like words that sounded identical, and I was just trying to make a distinction or differentiate between those words. So, like if we're talking about American English, I can pretty much, understand, but like other dialects of or other accents of English, I might have difficulty understanding. For example, British English. It's extremely hard for me to, differentiate similar sounding words in British English. Vowels are additionally lengthened before voiced consonants. For example, E is originally a short vowel, but pronounced relatively shorter before a voiceless consonant and somewhat longer before voiced consonants. Here are some examples: rip and rib. The trap vowel, as you can see uh, in the picture on the right, compared to A, the trap is a more open vowel, and compared to A, trap is a closer vowel. Words with trap vowels can be such as hat, bag, pan, bat, bat, land, lag, and. So the trap vowel is like it's neither E nor A, it's something in between, and as Turkish speakers we might have a lot of problem trying to make that sound because it doesn't really exist in our own language, and it's actually quite hard to be able to pronounce it. The nurse vowel. The Norse vowel occurs in words like turn, word, and bird. Some examples include surgeon, blurred, purr, determine, yearn, learn, and early. The strut, the strut vowel. Strut is known as the short U vowel. Examples include cut, bun, husk, such, above, thus, flood, and wonderful. This is, you can think of it as like a short U, like as said here. Words in British and an American pronunciation. So this is again a comment that I left in the site. So let's read it out loud. I I like the American accent more. It's easier for me to understand and differentiate between words that sound identical since I've been exposed to American English for a long time and also have a bit of an American accent myself. So yes, American accent has always been like familiar for me because, you know, even like identical words like heart and heart in American English I can pretty much like differentiate between them. But when it comes to other accents, like I just said, like British accent, for example, it's extremely hard for me to be able to differentiate between those words. I sometimes have difficulty understanding British accent myself. So American accent has always been much more familiar for me. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.